What's up, bros, and welcome to another Brograph Brocast. This is episode 21. I'm Dave Koss.
And I'm Matt Milstead.
And with us this week is Alex P. Diddy.
Yo.
What do you want to go by, actually?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of my friends call me LPD. That's
just
the
choose right,
alias.
because I'm going to call you this the whole entire show.
P to the D.
Yeah, PD's good. LPD's good. Alex is also
Alex Prudick Dennis.
suffice.
What don't you want to be called?
You shouldn't call me a punk
Okay.
or
Don't
a
call me
loser.
late for dinner. Yeah.
And that's the end of the show.
So, you also had another nickname a little while back. It was like something Bin Laden or something.
Oh yeah,
Or-
yeah.
What was it? What
I
did they
don't
call
remember.
you?
Oh, man, it was something
Man,
like that. Al Qaeda or something. Something
yeah.
incredibly racist.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll just call you PD or P Diddy for the rest of the show.
I was watching
Right on.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and P. Diddy was on a couple of episodes. He was hilarious.
Well, P Diddy, PD,
Beady.
Bin Laden is gonna talk to us about some Arnold a little bit, and mainly some Houdini stuff this week, which we've been jonesing for.
Woot woot.
Represent.
So that's gonna be fun. First, we'll talk about this week. It hasn't really been that long between shows because we recorded a little late last week.
Yeah.
And so there's not that much to talk about. One of the things we do have to talk about is gay cowboy pics.
That's
Because,
and I don't know why we don't talk about this more, really.
I know. Our apparently
It's always on the list, but we just can never get to it.
I know. It's like Matt Damon on Jimmy Kimmel.
Right.
Yeah, it's just always on the end of the list. Actually, what happened was I got a call from Marker Tech this week because I was ordering a mixer, an audio mixer, and it was for a client, so it was on their credit card, but it had my phone number and it had an email address that I had kind of just created for the purposes of ordering a bunch of gear. And so they call me up and they're asking all these questions about the credit card, and they're asking me, oh, so it's going to this place and this address and your phone number's in Dallas, and we just want to make sure this is a legit purchase. I'm like, sure it is. Why wouldn't it be? And they're like, well, we looked up your company, nexusmotion.com, on Google, and it just came up to a site that said gay cowboy pics, and you click and it just goes to a porn site. I'm like, excuse me? And I'm driving to Kansas City at this point, and I'm like cursing because I'm looking it up, and I'm like, I'm like, sorry, I'm not meaning to curse in your ear, but
And of course, you freak out and go crazy like you do.
well, the main thing was that like I was afraid that like the client had seen this, and some other clients had seen it, and some of our clients are
Still
religious.
with you because of it.
Well, some of them are religious, and I was not liking the fact that I have been actually sending out emails with this address on it for God knows how long, and it's been going to a gay porn site. So,
That's
golden.
That
I'm
is
like,
golden.
that sucks.
Dave,
I
I've
mean,
been meaning to tell you, we're changing direction.
that's what it is. It's not really working out. I figure there's more money. There probably is more money in it.
I'm sure there is.
So it's been interesting because basically what's going on with it is it only happens if you Google search it. It doesn't happen if you go straight to the site. So it was like a weird Drupal vulnerability. And I feel like I'm saying this every week, but like we are so getting on the Squarespace bandwagon because like it's just easier to handle, and you don't have to worry about all the BS that goes along with having to have a server and all that other stuff. And that's exactly what happened is, there's life happens and such, and you don't update your, latest security version of your Drupal backend, and all of a sudden you're a gay porn site.
All of a sudden.
And there's, of course, there's stuff that you can't do with Squarespace that you can do if you have a full-blown server and all that stuff. But this is just another reason for me to be like, okay, I'm done with server stuff.
Yeah.
Like, So the problem, though, was that, like, even changing the server, Google still had it cached, because the robots hadn't recrawled our site yet.
Mm-hmm.
So even after it was just
if you go there right now, it just goes right to Brograph, right?
Yeah, it goes to Brograph, and the robots recrawled it or whatever. But yeah, too bad Squarespace isn't a sponsor, because we could really promote them right now. But
yeah, we could also use the money.
That too. So that was fun, and then we hit 3,000 subscribers on YouTube this week.
Yeah,
which is also cool.
And 100 Twitter followers.
100. We don't have a lot of Twitter followers.
But you know what? The ones we do have are quality Twitter followers.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. We get a lot of response on Twitter from people, and we don't have a lot of people actually subscribe to it. So that's a good point. If you're not following us on Twitter, you should. Because it's fun to have discussions about graphics on there. And if you're not following us on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, you should add us.
Yes, you should.
YouTube is really where most of everybody is who's listening or watching or whatnot. But
yeah,
3K is pretty good. Those are quality as well. Those are 3,000 quality viewers. So
yes, they are.
So that's fun. Other things that happened in the last 5 days, I guess, 4 days. After Effects, I noticed this week, does not pause if you're low on disk space with the new update.
Really?
So have you ever been rendering something in After Effects and you don't realize your drive is full?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
So
I don't know. It doesn't happen very often. Or I haven't had it happen
to me. I don't know, 3 or 4 times or something. But
so does it crash instead, or does it just like blow your computer up?
It doesn't crash. It gives you the sheep of death.
Because I liked that it paused, with
Yeah.
a few hundred megs left.
It would pause. It would say, hey, I can't finish this. And then you're like, okay. And it would pause, and you would free up space, and then you would hit resume. Well, now it just fails across the board.
Do you guys remember Bruce the Yak? Bruce the Wonder Yak?
No.
You don't remember Bruce the Wonder Yak?
Is this a meme?
No. You mentioned the sheep or whatever, and it reminded me of Bruce the Wonder Yak in Final Cut 7. Do you know Bruce the Wonder Yak?
No, in Final Cut 7.
Okay, so the first time... Okay, so there's this little Easter egg, right? If you leave your Final Cut Pro open for like 13 hours or something and don't move the mouse at all, a little yak will walk across the screen and start like doing these little think bubble things, right? So like, I never knew about this.
I'm looking at this on Google Images right now. I never saw this.
Yeah, so I never knew about Bruce the Wonder Yak. And so I'm up at work late one night. Something's been rendering forever. It's like 2 a.m, right? And I'm the only one there. So all of a sudden I'm so deliriously tired, and this little yak starts walking across my screen. I'm like, what is going on? And so he starts like spouting off this philosophical nonsense, and I'm like, what? And so I go to grab my mouse, and the second you move it, Bruce runs away. And then all of a sudden, some of my friends came up, some of the other coworkers, and started banging on the front door. Freaked me out.
Weird.
Anyway, Bruce the Wonder Yak.
So you can't screenshot it. I wonder how these people screenshot it.
You can. There's actually a keyboard shortcut in Final Cut 7 to call him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you don't have to wait 13 hours. That's what we were talking about the Creative Pro user group. Used to be the Final Cut Pro user group last week, on all of their little cards that you buy or whatever, the little lanyards, it has Bruce the Wonder Yak on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
I said, I'm glad it's getting weird again. I didn't understand when it wasn't weird.
Yeah.
I speak for us, all three of me.
Yep. Yeah, he's
With
weird.
a rotary attachment like that, it's already interesting to me.
See, and you can, like, apparently there's a script in there that you can add your own custom things.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bruce
I'd
the
never
Wonder
heard
Yak.
of that either.
Now you know, and no one's half the battle.
G.I. Joe. So, yeah, so that's fun. And now, oh yeah, somebody asking me again about cracks on YouTube this week. I don't know if you saw that.
I know, I did see that.
Like, what do you want me to?
And it's Octane. You know, it's so cheap.
It's like, yeah, but I can't afford it. I'm like, but
then
you're still asking me in public on a big public tutorial site if I have a crack for it.
Even if we did have one or knew how to get one, we wouldn't say it on a public site.
I know. It's just like, that's what I don't understand. It's like just like asking out in public in front of everybody, hey, so you guys have a crack for this or what?
Yeah.
I'm like, why? What? Yeah. So, and the navigation tutorial that I did, I finally got that out this week.
Very nice. Yeah, you got quite a few hits on that one.
Well, you know what's weird about that is you never know what's really going to do well in a tutorial.
Yeah, it's true.
And I thought this is just going to be just a little thing. I'm going to throw it out there. It's not going to get a lot of attention. And it got like mad love on Reddit. And it got like lots of comments and people saying, dude, this is awesome. Like, I didn't know that this is like a better way to navigate. Like someone even made an animated GIF out of like maybe like 10 seconds of the best part of it.
Oh, really?
Posted that, and then they're like, these two things right here that you show in this looping file, like this is the best thing ever.
Huh.
And I was
that on the subreddit?
Yeah.
That's funny. I have to look that up.
They're like, these two settings right here, you do that, and it makes all the difference in the world. And I'm like, okay, well, good.
You're like, I'm a GIF.
I helped somebody, I guess.
Feels good to help someone.
It is true, though. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I mean, you know, maybe if you're even a seasoned pro and you don't know about this shortcut, or these shortcuts in general, like altogether for navigating your viewport, man, it makes such a big difference. Really, really big difference in your workflow. And like I said in the tutorial, I've shown it to people how to do this, put these settings in when they're kind of just brand new to Cinema 4D, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a million times better. I can't believe I wasn't navigating like this before, because it takes it from like super convoluted and hard to super awesome.
Yeah, but see, I like the camera mode to be around the is it the object? Oh, maybe I've got mine set up as object, but I would think that I would want it as the cursor.
I don't.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how. I haven't seen you navigating a viewport in a while, so
true.
I don't remember how you had.
I don't think we've actually seen each other in a while.
I know. When's the last time I saw you
I don't know.
in person?
I don't know.
It's been a long time. Okay, so here's just
Not
a funny.
long enough.
Here's a funny thing that happened this week. I was coming back from Kansas City, and I was like, I want to get some shots with my drone of these really cool wind turbines. You know, the wind farms.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. Are you allowed to do that?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, but I would think that, like, I don't know. I think there'd be something like that.
The thing is, it's not like an airplane. You know, those things are so big, like if my drone got in the way, it would crush it.
Yeah, but you'd also do damage to the, like, minor damage, but still some damage.
I don't know that you even would. I mean, these things, like, you don't realize it.
No, I know. I've been up in one. They are scary as crap.
Right. That's right. Did you have a weird story about that? Like you got stuck in one? Or
No, I don't know if I ever told this story, but... So this was the shoot. The shoot was that 3 guys were showing off it was for a company that sold safety harnesses or, you know, ways to rappel off of somewhere really high in case you fell or there was a fire. So we staged this fake fire or whatever, fire drill type thing where 3 guys had to leave out of a wind turbine nacelle, you know? And we could fit like 10 to 12 people up in that thing. That's how big they are.
Wow.
So 2 people climbed out the top, 1 person climbed out the chute at the bottom, you know, and we got all 3 people, you know, going down. So I had to climb up the thing, and it's not like a spiral staircase that goes all the way up. It is a ladder straight up. So you have to strap yourself into a safety harness, and then, you know, you get an assist a little bit that'll take like 70 pounds off you, but, you know, I'm still a big guy, and I'm also having to carry, you know, 100 pounds of equipment with me up. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Good
is
Lord.
Climbing up into a wind turbine.
I would ask for some hazard pay.
Yeah.
But they're huge, man. They're just massive, and like, I mean, it was a really beautiful sight seeing them on the horizon, and then I passed them, and I'm like, man, I really want to get some shots of those when I come back. So I did get some shots. I haven't really gone through my footage yet, but when I came back, I pulled over kind of on the side, you know, the scenic overlook turn-in things, and there's nobody out there except like 1 couple in a car. And so I go to the other end of the parking lot, because here's the thing, like, I don't want to be bothered. You know, I mean, I get it, like, it's a novel thing to have a drone, but like, I get a lot of interest, and sometimes I just want to go fly, you know, and I'm like,
I just want to fly.
I don't want any distraction. Like, I had like an 8-hour drive, and I was like, I just want to get a shot of it, and I want to go. I don't want to linger for a long time. It's just adding time to my drive. And first I have to pee, and so I'll go to the other end of the parking lot, and there's still people around, and I'm like, all right. So I pee in a cup in my truck.
Oh, jeez.
And I throw it away. I'm like, I just don't want to be bothered. I don't want attract any attention. So, like, I do that, and then there's this couple there, and then, like, I'm like, I get some footage, and I'm like, not close enough to the wind farm to get a good shot, to get close to them. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna see if I can go down the road, and I exit, and I go down the road a little bit down the highway, and right there is another scenic turn in. I'm like, perfect. And I pull in, but it's not as big as the other one. So, like, there's more people around, and I'm like, dude, I hope nobody just comes up and wants to, like, check it out and all this. I just want to go. And I'm already kind of running behind, but it's a good opportunity. And I see the same couple again. And I'm like, that's weird. And they're, like, walking around in the bushes, and I realize they're doing a geocache.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, well, I would rather talk to them than the other person who came up to me. I launched the thing as soon. I'm like a magnet, dude. Like, I almost like had this feeling something weird was going to happen. I launched the thing up, and this white truck pulls up next to me as soon as I launch it. And this guy gets out. He's super skinny. He's probably 59, 60 years old. His face is super wrinkled. He is wearing a long denim shirt.
Like you do.
Like you do. And shorts. And he's in socks
Long
only.
denim shirt and shorts.
Yes, and he's wearing socks only. He's outside of the car walking around. He's got socks only. And he has a bright yellow bow tie on, like plastic bow tie.
Heck yeah.
That's so weird.
That's what I'm talking about.
And he's carrying a Fujifilm disposable camera.
What?
And I'm like, what is this person doing here? Oh my gosh, now I got to deal with this. I know that this person's going to be weird. And he comes up, and you know the guy in Family Guy who's like the, oh, hi. You know, like, there's some Oreos left. I think I'll take them home to my cats. He sounded just like that guy. So this voice, this bow tie, the socks, and the Fujifilm camera, I'm like, oh my gosh. What? Cool. And so he comes up, and he's like, here. I'm like, what? He's like, take my picture. I'm like,
what?
I'm like, I'm flying the thing right now. I can't. Oh, that's right. I wouldn't want it to crash now. He's like, that's pretty cool looking. And he's like looking at it. He's like, see if I can get a picture of it. And it's like 1,000 feet away. I'm like, you're not going to get a picture of this. And so like he's looking at it for a while. And then of course the dreaded question that everybody asks me, so how much does one of them things cost? I'm like, that's kind of a personal question, right? And
If
so
you have to ask, you can't afford it.
right. But it's like I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's like, I don't know you. Like you're asking me, like, how much can I get for it if I steal it from you? That's how it sounds like in my head, right? If I steal this from you right now, how much can I get at a pawn shop? And so I'm like, oh, they vary. It just depends. He's like, so like $1,000? I'm like, no, they vary. It could be from cheap to expensive, just depending on, whatever. And he's like, oh, so he's like walking around for a little bit. And then he's like pointing the camera at himself with like the wind turbines in the background. He's like, selfie. Oh, I'll take a selfie. And he's like taking his picture with the camera. And then like, he's talking to me about it a little more. Like, I've never seen one of those with a fancy screen like that. And then I just was borderline going to say, can you just let me, I don't want to be rude, but like, I really just wanted to do my thing and get out of there. And I was on the verge of saying something to him. And then he starts to go back in his truck and he's like, I guess some people just have everything, don't they? And he's in his truck and leaves. And I'm like, oh,
That's funny.
It's so awkward with your bow tie and your socks. So weird.
I want to meet that man.
Oh, man. It's just like that kind of situation attracts itself to me. I'm just like, why? I swear I had this feeling something weird was going to happen when I pulled in there.
Where was this? In Kansas?
Yeah, I mean, it was Oklahoma. I mean, this is borderline truck stop bathroom territory, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
So, I was like, oh, I don't know, but I really wanted to get a shot. But that's what I get.
That's funny. The shot looked nice.
Yeah, I did post one picture. I haven't watched the video. Hopefully it's good. I wish I would have had more time because that would be some good footage to sell or something online. But
that's true.
It's 4K, so...
Word.
So this is kind of funny. I was posting the show last week at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and Nick Campbell was on Twitter, and he was like, up late doing such and such. What is you guys doing at night? Something productive? And so I was just kind of, being silly, and I tweeted at him, oh, posted the podcast, and
we gave you a shout out.
And we personally invited you to be in our limo at NAB this year. And he liked the tweet, so that means he has acknowledged. He has acknowledged that we would like him to come hang out in our limo.
Yep.
So
there it is.
He's acknowledged it. But we'll see if he takes us up on the offer.
Right.
I don't know.
So might as well just say, if you want to hang out with Nick Campbell.
Oh gosh.
And us.
Yeah. Right.
In a limo.
Yeah, we're totally his best friend now.
We're his fan.
Right, we are his fan. A program. So this is funny. We both were playing with some of these new face swap programs this week. These apps.
Here's the thing. Like, I mean, it's an app. Yeah.
Right.
So it's not necessarily video editing or something, but it uses cool, like, motion tracking stuff, which is, part of stuff that we do in After Effects and stuff like that. So, thought it'd be worth a cool mention.
It's fun to play with, man. I mean, it just shows you where this stuff is going in the next few years. If you can do such a great job on the fly, imagine where pre-production is going, post-production is going.
That's scary, kind of.
Yeah, so the one I've been playing with is called MSQRD, Masquerade, I guess. And it just like switches out your face with someone else's face, like Snoop Dogg, or they just updated it today, and you get Iron Man. It's cool. Like you can flip your head up, and the Iron Man mask will open up too. And you can flip it down, and it'll go down. It's cool.
So it has like interactions and stuff.
Oh yeah, totally. And like,
pretty cool.
There's this one. It's got like bunny ears or whatever, and as you move your head back and forth, the bunny ears wobble back and forth. It's very cool.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And it's free too. And like, it's cool because you can record video of yourself like doing it.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Put one of the Dirty Sanchez mustaches guys on a baby, and it's so funny.
And that one's free.
Mm-hmm.
See, the one I've been playing with is 99 cents.
Yeah, I bought that one too.
Oh, you did? Face Swap Live?
Yeah, I couldn't get it to work very well.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Well, the one thing, I mean, the face swap thing is cool, but actually what I've been having fun with is doing the mask.
Yeah, see, that's what Masquerade is.
Yeah, where it puts
someone else's face on it.
Yeah, because you could do it the other way where it puts your face on someone else.
Uh-huh.
But what I like about the Face Swap Live is it has the internet button.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just do a search right there for like a Google image of a face.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so like you could just click that button and type in anybody famous right off the bat and it just comes up. So my daughter and I are like typing in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that and swapping each other's faces or
that's cool.
And you can load your own, of course, which is fun, but I was out on tour and so we were taking all the stars of the show and Googling them through the app and just making ourselves those people and doing imitations of them. It was pretty funny.
That's funny. That is funny.
So those are interesting to check out. So, P. Diddy.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just Googling that.
Let's talk about Arnold a little bit. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this episode.
Cool.
I've played around with Arnold. I thought it was... yeah, you know that.
Oh, yeah, you talked about that.
It was like... I did a week of Arnold and... what's the other one? The M one. Maxwell. And I came to the conclusion that I like Arnold Renderer better.
Damn, how was that Maxwell? I've been hearing a lot about that.
Really?
For a long time, yeah.
It was okay. It was really confusing. Like, the there's a certain level of user friendliness. Like, I would say the absolute easiest thing ever is Octane. Then below that, V-Ray, and then Arnold. I don't know. Arnold and V-Ray are probably about the same in like complexity.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know, but I really liked the kind of node-based stuff in Arnold.
That's interesting.
Why, you don't like that?
No, I think that's the logic of most of the node-based, systems that I've dealt with. It just makes so much more sense. Like Nuke and Houdini, which we're going to get into, is also node-based.
Yeah, and
just makes sense.
Someone moving over from, like, say, 3ds Max or Maya even would be used to this and would probably be able to get this really easily.
Yeah, for sure. That's how Maya was like that. I don't know if it is like that anymore, but
I don't know. I know 3ds Max is, but for the I don't know. 3ds Max, you've got two different. You've got like a compact version, which is kind of like Cinema's version for the material editor, but then you've also got the node based one too.
Yeah.
And node-based is something where you're either already familiar with it and it makes perfect sense, or you've never used node-based anything before and it's super confusing.
Yeah, with me it's always super confusing. Like
You've been doing Espresso though. I mean, you're probably
yes,
used to that.
I have been doing Espresso, and Espresso is fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's what
stuff like that makes your life so much easier. Like you can just go back to it and link it up. Yeah. But anyway, what I was going to say is Arnold, the reason I got even into using it was as a cinema user, we don't really have a way of dealing with like clouds or anything like that, like very like well put together volumes. And I actually started using Houdini just for its capability to use volumes, and I wished so feverishly for there to be a way to export my volumes from Houdini and import them in the cinema. And like 2 years ago, they introduced that engine, and Arnold came out, and apparently, you can. In Arnold, there's a volume object where you can import an open VDB from Houdini, even if you have the Apprentice version, you can still import a VDB sequence, an open VDB sequence with the Arnold volume object and render beautiful volumes.
Now, an open VDB, describe that to me. What is it exactly? Is that like just a motion
volume database?
VDB is a whole different beast, man. I don't even know if I could explain it to you on the fly like this, but it's a really economic way.
Well, you'll just have to come back next week.
From what I know and from my experience using it, it's just it's kind of like a universal way to work in between softwares with volumes. And with the VDB situation in Houdini, you can use it like bools. It's really weird. Like if you generate volumes with geometry, there's there's all kinds of problems with that because, doing bools with objects, you have to figure out, it has to interpolate the topography on all the polygons on the fly each frame. And VDB, it's more like it's like a weird volume mixed with polygons. It's really hard to explain.
Well, this is interesting because I'm on their site. They say it's an Academy Award-winning open source C++ library comprising a novel hierarchical data structure and a suite of tools for the efficient storage and manipulation of sparse volumetric data.
It's
discretized on three-dimensional grids. Oh my gosh, that's a tough sell right there. But
I mean, I know when I'm looking for three-dimensional data with volumetric, that's where I go. That's the first thought I was thinking.
Well, OpenVDB is actually, you could use that in Turbulence FD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? Yeah, totally. Yeah, and Arnold has a setting for that.
So Arnold,
I think X Particles
renderer in Cinema 4D can import these, but Cinema can't import them natively, correct?
No, it cannot. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's something that Turbulence FD does that now Octane 3 is going to be able to interpret.
Okay.
So it's got that going
That's
for
cool.
it, which is nice. Cool. But OpenVDB actually is showing clips on their site from How to Train Your Dragon, which is interesting because we were talking about the people that make Carbon. They make the cloud thing. What is it called?
Oh, I don't remember what it's called. Carbon Scatter is the company.
Carbon Scatter.
Or the Eon or something like that.
Yeah, but they just got bought out by somebody.
Yeah.
They're a cloud thing.
Yeah.
That was How to Train Your Dragon. So I wonder how all that works.
They also use I used VDBs for fluids too. Like you can turn your fluid mesh into an open VDB, and then you can it's really weird. Okay, this is a really good example.
No, I know Blender can do something like this. Is it like a motion OBJ?
Or like an FBX and embedded animation type thing where it's like per frame?
No, I'm talking about this works within your software. It's so this example that I'm thinking of, like a fill up. If you've ever done a fluid fill up in RealFlow or whatever, there's this area between the mesh of your rigid body and the fluid mesh, and it's bubbly and warpy and just looks horrible. With VDBs, you can treat it like a bool. You can take your rigid body object and shrink the faces in, so it obscures the surface of the thing, and then combine them like a bool, and then smooth it and make it look all pretty with these open VDBs. And then once you have this open VDB object, you can easily turn it into a polygon soup and then export it as like you said, an OBJ sequence, or I think even certain softwares can read OpenVDB as geometry and apply it its own polygon soup in the game.
Polygon soup.
So tasty.
Well, the new OpenVDB highlights in the new version are advection of arbitrary volumes, preconditioned linear solver, and a Poisson solver for functions sampled on grids. Man, this is some complex stuff.
It's pretty. I don't even know what.
So how long have you been working in this program?
I don't know what they are.
How long have you been working in Arnold?
I've been working in Arnold for 7 months, but I haven't really been using it as my primary render.
Okay, so that's not the one you're using exclusively.
No, I just usually stick with advanced render or the physical that they got in the newer ones.
So I guess a lot of people are asking about comparisons, like especially to Octane.
Yeah, let's talk about render time, because I know Arnold has the interactive preview renderer. I don't know what it's called in Arnold, but
it's IPR, yeah.
Okay, so it's got the interactive preview renderer, but I noticed when I was doing it, when I was trying it out on my Mac, man, it was mega slow. Like, but I'm coming from Octane, and Octane's like, 30 seconds, and the whole thing is rendered really quickly, versus I had to wait like 15 minutes.
Well, I mean, I don't have any way of comparing it. I mean, I can take your word for it, but
okay.
It's been pretty quick compared to advanced render. It's like night and day.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to compare it to, is to the main render engine in Cinema.
Is there anything that you can do similar to V-Ray or Octane where you can convert your materials over to Arnold materials?
I mean, I have tried to research it, and I don't really think that there's like a seamless way of doing it. I know that Arnold will actually read a native Cinema shader, but there's certain things that it can and can't do, or I feel like I ran into a brick wall there somewhere. Like it only works to an extent or something like that until you have to.
Octane will do that too. And so will V-Ray. They'll read the standard Cinema 4D ones.
Okay.
But yeah, I know what you're saying. It doesn't always come out looking like it should.
Yeah.
And the render speed is GPU based, correct?
There's a little selection. I don't know. I might be thinking of something else, but I believe it is, because it's doing like full on GI and AI and all that stuff. So it's calculating a lot of information, and it's doing it really, really quickly.
And I think you were telling me it was like it took something that would usually take like an hour down to maybe 5 minutes or so.
I mean, I don't know. I might have been blowing smoke up your tailpipe, but I mean, it certainly seemed like that in certain regards. But to Matt's point, I've done some like interior tests with like some pretty complicated geometry, and it is like dragging.
Yeah, that's like where I tested it. I tested it on an interior scene. Because I wanted to see how well the interactive preview renderer did. And, I will say, though, the textures and the bump and everything, all I did was I did like a leather texture, a simple leather texture that I had, with just a diffuse and a bump and a small reflection or whatever. And I will say, once it finally rendered and got up there, the quality, it looks very realistic.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I feel like I don't have to say anything about Arnold. You could just Google it, and you will find some like incredible examples of what people have done with Arnold. I mean, it might not be in Cinema, but I mean, Arnold speaks for himself.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what camera was used. It's
all about the film, baby.
Right?
There's something that I found, and there's this have you ever heard of PSYOP, that commercial studio? I think they're in like
that sounds
LA
familiar.
They developed a shader with Arnold that's like open source, and you can download it for free from their site. I think it's called JF Nested something, but it's a really, really cool way of dealing with
JF Nested Dielectric,
yeah. And you can download that and implement it within Cinema.
Check out the demo.
I mean, it is
Ooh.
Gorgeous.
See, that's going to be
Gorgeous stuff.
interesting to see because.
So is it like glass or
it's
water?
Layered transparencies. It's like a really interesting way of dealing with layered transparencies.
It's almost like the what is it? Film index or whatever in Octane.
Right.
How it creates the
scatterings and stuff.
Yeah. What's his name? The 2D guy at Grayscale was playing around with that this week.
Hassenfrassen,
yes. Hassenpfeffer.
He was playing with the index thing, or
no? He was playing with what's it? You know, the oily stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Jeez. Make it look like oil slicks
in Octane
with the
or
rainbow. No, in regular C4D.
I didn't know you could do that in regular C4D, actually.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah,
I gotta look it up.
That too.
Yeah. But the thing about Octane, though, is like, I mean, about Arnold is that, we talked about on the show last week about how
Hassenfratz.
how there's like that thing that they did on Motionographer, the survey they did, the little graph thing talking about like, how many people are using the different render engines and all of that. And Arnold was at like 8%, and like it was nothing in comparison to the others. But at the same time, you hear so much about Arnold. You hear people talking about Arnold, and people are talking about, oh, it's so great. But you're like, well, then where are the people using it?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's one
I don't know.
of those
I see a lot of people using it, or at least talking about it on the subreddit.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good to know because I don't even know. I mean, I heard about that shader like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
It's been around.
It's the spectral shader in C4D or creating iridescent materials, I guess. So
it's one of those things where like if you're a Republican on Facebook and all your friends are Republican, then you tend to think that everybody's talking about how great Trump is, and and then you talk to other people and you're like, well, everybody's talking about Trump, but in reality, then that's just because who you're hanging out with. So it's like, maybe everybody who's talking about Arnold is just like they're all Arnold people, and everybody's in those circles is talking about it, so it's like got more hype than it really does. Like, not to say that it's hype, but
I mean, is Arnold? Am I tripping, or is it like can it be a standalone?
I think it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's been around well before it's implemented in cinema.
Yeah, totally.
Cinema, like it's been used for. Probably. Was it the Planet
and
of the
it's
Apes?
funny that we're talking about it today because 11 hours ago, Solid Angle, the company who makes it, said C4D to A, which is the Cinema 4D plugin, 1.0.12.0 is released. It includes new features, IPR enhancements, and bug fixes.
Cool. Version 1?
Version 1.0.12.0.
So they're still on 1, so it's pretty new.
I mean, I think it's been around for a while.
They're just doing really slow point updates, I guess.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, Arnold's been around for quite a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not it was available for cinema, I think it's only been available for cinema for.
It's pretty cool, and you can rent it per day. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Temporary floating Arnold license key. There's a minimum order value for rentals of $350 or €350, but you can rent it for $750 a day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
And there's educational license out there too.
The problem with me,
cheap.
I think, like hearing about Arnold, is that I don't really know, like if it's something I want to pursue or not. And it's a hard thing to say because if I ask an Arnold person, should I pursue it, they're going to say yes. Just
absolutely.
Somebody asked me, should I do Octane? I'm going to say yes, But, I think that's the dilemma a lot of people have right now. And it's hard for me to be objective because I'm such a big Octane guy. But if I were trying to think about this from an outside point of view, is I have not used Octane or I have not used Arnold, and I want to choose one of the two, That's really going to be the question, right?
Yeah. So Matt, you're going to have the best insight.
Well, I mean, I didn't do enough with Arnold.
The
Like, here's the thing.
Cool.
Here's the biggest thing, like, in my opinion, about Octane, and why I choose Octane a million times over any other render engine is it produces a pretty picture. And I'm sure if I were to spend the time with V-Ray or with Arnold or something else, or even physical render, I could get it looking just as good, Right. But the speed is one thing, but man, it is so easy to learn. Like literally, you throw an image into the image node or whatever. You throw a bump into the bump into an image node. You throw, tell it how blurry you want it, and that's basically it. There's not a lot of. You don't have to know a whole lot in order to really wrap your head around Octane. It's pretty easy, and that's why I love it so much. Yeah. It's not super convoluted, and you don't have to worry about a ton of settings.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would though, like the problem I had with Arnold though, like I wish I would have been able to try it out on my PC at work, or maybe I should just try it at home, do a trial at home, because I want to see how well it works with better graphics cards, because I was using a crappy graphics card on the Mac that I tested it out on. I don't know if it would run faster on better graphics cards. So
I mean, I tried Maxwell back in the day. I tried a couple other, there's one day I was just looking at render engines like 4 years ago. And I found all the ones that had a Cinema 4D plugin, and I downloaded the demos for all of them. And I tried them all, just messing with them. And none of them really seemed to stick for me. And then I did end up getting into V-Ray. But then...
yeah, you did.
I did that for a while, but then, kind of strayed away from that for a while. And then when Octane came out and I installed the demo, man, I was just in it. In minutes, I was doing these amazing things. And I was like, this is it. Like, I bought it the same day I got the demo. It was so good. And none of the other ones struck me that way. And I'm pretty sure that I tried Arnold back then as well. And
yeah, see, I didn't want to limit myself. Yeah, I did the same thing. I didn't want to limit, even though I had already been working in Octane, I didn't want to limit myself to I wanted to be able to say Octane is the best and this is why I think so, you know? Instead of just saying, oh, Octane's great, use it. Well, I don't know, I've never tried these other ones, But
and the other thing is with Arnold is Octane, I don't know, Octane probably is available for all of the packages, right?
Yeah, they've got plugins for I think everything. And what I'm really excited about is that Octane is I love this. We're doing an Arnold show and all we're talking about is Octane. Right. But Octane's going to be releasing a plugin for After Effects.
Yeah.
So like I'm really excited to see what they do with that.
And they have one for Nuke?
Yes, they have one for Nuke. They have one for Houdini. They have one for Blender,
Yeah, Moto.
Yeah, AutoCAD, Maya. I mean, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what's cool is like you have to buy the standalone license, which is fine. And then, but if you've got some of these other programs, like I've got 3ds Max at work and I've got Cinema 4D, so all I had to buy was the 3ds Max Octane version, which was cool because it's only like $200, because I already had the standalone version. And I'll tell you, what's great, it's like wrapping your head around Mental Ray and V-Ray, because it's different in 3ds Max than it is in Cinema 4D. It's the exact same in Octane in 3ds Max. Anyway,
right, and that's
pretty cool.
That can be a problem if you don't have all the settings. I think it was like Mental Ray because they have Mental Ray for Cinema 4D.
Yeah, they do.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't even know. I
think they've got Mental Ray and iRay. It's made by the same company, right?
Yeah, and you actually can get them together as a package if you buy them. It's like so obscure though, and from what I remember, I was checking out the demo of the thing, and it actually had a lot less settings in the render settings.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, doesn't have all the settings that 3D Max has. So like, how is this the same thing? It's not exactly the same because you can't do, A, B, and C that you can do over here. And Octane doesn't work like that. It's really the exact same thing. Yeah.
I mean, even V-Ray is different. Like V-Ray for 3ds Max, you've got that interactive preview renderer, and that's what V-Ray for C4D is trying to get to the same, level that it's doing with 3ds Max and the other render engines.
And speaking of which, Lester Banks posted something this week. It said NVIDIA's iRay is coming to Cinema 4D.
Yeah, I just Googled that.
And I was like, wasn't it already in Cinema 4D? I swore it was already in Cinema 4D. It's just nobody was using it.
M4D is becoming NVIDIA iRay for Cinema 4D. It's like made by NVIDIA, though.
I'm confused what the deal is with that.
Yeah.
I can't figure that out, so I don't know.
Huh. That could be cool. That could be very cool.
Yeah, but again, that's probably still CPU based.
No, it's made by NVIDIA. I would think that it would be.
You would think that they would, right?
You know what? I want to say that I saw it specifically on Maxon's site that iRay. I'm looking it up. Advanced rendering architecture, render engines. There it is. Sorry, bear with me. Arnold, Furryball, iRay. iRay for Cinema 4D takes rendering to a new level by progressively refining the image until desired detail is achieved, becoming increasingly faster as more CUDA GPUs are employed. So yeah.
So it's but you said Mental Ray is becoming. So is this
but look, it says iRay is M4D and Mental Ray is M4D. I don't know. That's weird.
Weird.
But the when you Google iRay for C4D, it's the first one says it's m4d.info. NVIDIA iRay. We are proud to announce that M4D is becoming NVIDIA iRay for Cinema 4D. M4D and weird.
Yeah, that's really weird. But it does sound GPU based.
Yeah.
And it's progressive, but that's how most GPU stuff seems to be anyway. So
yeah,
no surprise there.
Currently only discontinued selling M4. Promise to guarantee.
Well,
that should be really interesting to see.
I mean, I don't think we have a solid answer to which one is better, but my gut feeling this whole time has always been that Octane may be a better choice. I don't know. I think that when you look at the numbers of who's using stuff and how fast it's blown up, to me, like if I were trying to be objective, I would look and see that, Octane was at the top of the list. It was something crazy, like 70-something%.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
60, 70%, and Arnold being at 8%. Maybe there's, the problem is that there's other industries that are not motion graphics that are
right
modeling and all that.
I think as far as Cinema 4D is concerned, I mean, what's the point of using? I mean, is there like forgive me for my ignorance, is there like a volume setting or a object in Octane that you can import those kind of files with?
It's Turbulence FD imports are going to be renderable in Octane in version 3 when it comes out.
Okay.
Which I've been playing with that. It's very crashy right now because they're still in alpha. But
yeah, I mean, to me, it just seems like, there was enough of a user group that did do movie stuff, maybe, or theatrical stuff that would have, that would appreciate a plug-in for Cinema 4D. I don't think it was like designed exclusively for Cinema 4D or their users.
Right.
Yeah. So of course it's going to be lower on the totem pole, especially if Octane was like, it seems like it's sort of been.
I'm going to try out iRay this week.
Is there a demo, by the way?
Yeah, there's a demo for it. I mean, it's the older version. It's not the new one, but I mean, there's a free trial here.
I'm checking out releases too, by the way, of Octane, now that I'm thinking about it.
Are you looking it up? See if there's a new one?
Yeah, they're still on Alpha 3.1. So, yeah.
So, P. Diddy, have we convinced you to buy Octane yet?
Is that why I'm here? Is this like a...
Yeah.
It's an intervention.
It's an intervention.
Render intervention.
Rendervention.
Rendervention. We have an episode title.
Ding. Where's your ding?
Appropriate.
Oh, stand by.
There we go.
There you go. Rendervention. I've written it down so I don't forget.
Awesome. You know, I was listening to the episode last week, and you didn't insert the things when I told you to insert them.
I told you I wasn't.
I know.
It's like, no, I'm not editing anything. No. All right. So let's talk about Houdini, because that is, as you have been quoted to say, don't get me started on Houdini, because I'll never stop.
Yeah. It is. I mean,
it's your big thing.
I mean, you tell me where to start, man, because I guess, you know, a good place to start would be its comparison to Cinema 4D for those users out there.
Is there anything, you say comparison, but is there anything that can even match up to, is there anything else that does the same thing that it does?
I'm going to tell you. So, as far as there being a one-stop shop solution for pretty much everything, no, there's nothing like it.
I agree.
I mean, there's people and there's tools that you can conglomerate into one package, and people are starting to, like, feels like Autodesk is starting to implement some of the cooler technology under one roof, you know? So, it's getting to be that way, but as far as, I mean, Houdini's been doing this for... years. I mean, 10 years, probably more than that.
And they do daily builds, right?
Daily builds. I mean,
crazy.
and the thing is, they don't need to, like, have this publicity that everything else has. They're, like, established. If you work in visual effects, you know what Houdini is, and you understand
right
power.
But I also feel like if you are a motion graphics person, it's not necessarily a matter of do I learn Houdini or Cinema 4D? It's like you learn both for different reasons.
That's crazy that it's become that. I mean, I remember when I first started using Cinema, I was like, that's the one thing I didn't like about it, was that I couldn't do fluids, I couldn't do smoke, I couldn't do fire, I couldn't do anything. So I was like, fine, I'm going to go find something that's going to let me do this. Now, should I learn 3ds Max? Should I learn Maya? Well, Maya does have a fluid solution, and it's all right. But
have you played with Turbulence FD?
I have. I really like Turbulence FD, but it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like Real Flow. Like you can only do fire and smoke and cool particles,
right?
As far as I know, you know. In Houdini, if I wanted to do a fluid simulation, I could do a fluid simulation, and I could say, hey. Let me try and find the turbulence, the velocity. Where can I can isolate particles based on differences in velocity. And I can isolate those particles, and I can say, hey, this area where these particles are, I want it to affect the shading of the mesh that I created of it. Like all of the information, everything, every attribute, everything you could ever think of is there for your groping and molestation. You know, it's like it's a wonderful, wonderful program.
Now,
and if I can speak,
Houdini has the regular Houdini and then Houdini Indie. Is that correct?
Yeah, Houdini Indie is like, you know, I think it's like $300 or something.
$200 annually. The engine is $99. Man, it's pretty cheap.
I mean, it's freaking cheap, and you can do anything. I mean, I think if your company grosses like $1 million a year or something, then you can't. You have to buy the
Houdini engine is coming for Cinemas 4D.
It's already there.
Oh, it is.
Oh yeah, it's in 17.
But you can't use it like that unless you have the full license.
Really?
Yeah,
you can't really
full studio license, right?
Yeah, you can't really mess with it unless you have because it won't let you export OTLs, I believe is what it is, which is basically what Cinema requires.
Is it Houdini or Houdini effects that you've got to have? Because there's the Houdini, which is Houdini 2000, effects. And then the Houdini effects is like 4500.
Yeah, you want the effect. I mean, the effects one is what has I believe, don't quote me on this, like all the pyro effects.
Yeah, pyro effects, fluids and ocean effects. Yeah. Bullet RBD.
Yeah.
What is that? Oh,
Bullet, it's a rigid body system. It's cool. I think it's what they use for it's just a really economic way of dealing with rigid body dynamics. And I believe that it's particle based or something like that. So it makes it super easy and economic.
That's cool.
And you can do
Real Effects in Dallas here, they're using Houdini now. They switched over from Maya. Well, I don't know if they switched over or whether they're just using the plugin, but
I think that guy up there, that technical director, I forget his name. He actually, when I was over at Post Asylum, he actually came over there and talked to me about Houdini and was pretty much put me on man, this is what you need to do. And he was the one that taught me about the open VDBs and all the cool things you can do with them.
How did you like working for Post Asylum?
It was pretty cool, man. I mean,
did you know Nina?
And the wall, yeah, I knew Nina. I mean, like I said, man, between me, you, and the wall, I'd kick myself for leaving that place.
Yeah.
But
me and Nina have been friends for a while.
Nina's cool as hell.
Yeah.
You tell her I said what's up.
Anyway.
So what I heard about Real Effects is when they switched to Houdini, they actually paid to get everybody trained on it or something.
Yeah. I think I told you that. Because I've got a buddy who works for Real Effects. He moved here from Seattle or something like that. Got a job working for the Turkey movie.
The Turkey movie.
Horribly awful Turkey movie.
Yeah, my daughter was watching that a few months ago.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's really cool.
But then, I think it was in between after the Turkey movie, they then moved on to the Dios de los Muertos or...
Oh, the Book of the Life or something?
Yeah, Book of Life or whatever. And I think they were using Houdini at the time. And they had someone, they paid to have everyone kind of learn it, which is cool. That's cool. Very cool.
That is so cool.
So, but he worked specifically just in lighting.
Yeah, isn't that I don't know if I could do that.
I know. I have a hard enough time just sitting at my desk and doing, single frame 3D renders all day. I haven't rendered any motion in a while.
We might have had the conversation on here before, but talking about people who specialized in hair or fur or whatever, just sitting there working in Houdini or something like that, working on the hair on one arm of a character for years.
Dude, that's such waste. Especially in Houdini, man. All the stuff you can do in there. All you're doing is lighting.
And so you got that integration with Cinema 4D, so you can bring stuff in, which is cool. But it integrates with Arnold. I guess that's the volume stuff you were talking about, right?
Yeah, and you don't even need the full license for that. You can export those open VDB. I think it's an open VDB sequence. You have to export an open VDB sequence, just with the file node, and then you can import it into Arnold. And you can use all of Arnold's super pretty lighting setups and, And I imagine if you had that OTL thing, you could pretty much, build a whole slew of stuff in Houdini and then just bring it in the Cinema for rendering for Arnold.
Right. I think I played with that I had a demo version of Houdini I was playing with. And I think I was able to do that at the time.
I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff with it.
So what about let's talk about the VFX aspect of Houdini.
So this is the juicy stuff, but like I said before, you can do it has what is it? It has I'm just going to go through them. It has a fluid solver which is called Flip Fluids, and it's state of the art particle fluid simulations that you can you can apply and attach to any of the other ones. It has Pyro, which is its solution for fire and smoke and explosions and dynamic volumetric stuff. It has the grain solver these days. It has a very cool grain solver. I think the technology originally came out, it was called Lagoa.
What is a grain solver?
It's like a super complicated algorithm for pretty much sand and wet sand. You should look it up. Okay. It's really cool. And I think the original technology was called Lagoa. And I remember I went to Seagraph one year and I saw that talk on it, and it was it blew my mind how cool it was. And now it just ships with it, apparently.
Disney had to write its own algorithm or whatever to handle all the snow in Frozen. I got to see. I saw some video or whatever where they were showing off the way snow was moving and stuff. People were kind of amazed.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. I think the original flip fluid solver was from Naiad. Don't quote me on this stuff because I can probably get into a lot of trouble for giving you wrong information. Let's see. Where did I leave off? The grain solver. The rigid body dynamic stuff is super, super cool. Mm-hmm. I use Houdini kind of on and off just whenever I get inspired to use it. I'm never really forced to use it. Mm-hmm. And the last time I was playing with it, there's a way where you could dynamically break apart an object. You just do an initial rigid body sim of a ball bouncing, and you run this big dot network of it, and it creates a color splash where it interacts with the other rigid body object, and it shatters it with this Voronoi algorithm based on the velocity of it hitting the other object, and dynamically shatters.
Jeez.
It's so freaking cool. And you can what's the word? Procedurally control all that stuff. You could set up sliders and attributes for anything.
So it will actually shatter the other object differently based on its velocity?
Based on how it hits the other one.
Wow.
Essentially based on how it works. Another example is, I was trying to figure out how to, make fire grow along a spline or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, how can I do this? I need to write my own script. And I Googled it and I posted on a forum, and they're like, no, how do you actually start a fire? You have a match with a heat source and you put it to some fluid or some fuel.
Yeah.
So I made this little thing, volume based on, the little spline. And then I had a box and I represented that as temperature. I raised the temperature on that, and I just keyed the box moving towards the fuel, and it did exactly what I needed it to do. It's cool. It just makes so much sense. And it's all node-based. It's all procedural. So, you can pretty much set all that stuff. Now, I will say there's a crazy learning curve, especially from those that are coming from Maxon. It's just super daunting. I know it's going to be super daunting for those.
Yeah.
Are there any places you can recommend? Where did you learn?
I'm not sure I should tell you guys where I learned. I did learn it from lots of tutorials. There's a guy on Vimeo named Peter Quint. He does gobs of free tutorials. They actually have a really good database of tutorials on Side Effects' site.
Yeah, I've done some of those.
Their community is pretty awesome. And then all of the other ones have it. Digital Tutors have Houdini tutorials. CMI has tutorials.
Does FXPHD do them?
I think FXPHD has really good tutorials actually on Houdini, super good tutorials on Houdini.
Yeah.
Peter Quinn, but there's also a really super, really awesome community online called Odd Force. Man, shout out to those guys. Big hug from me. dude, that is the best form I think I've ever experienced in my life.
Nice.
Shed a tear. Like, one time I was on there. Actually, I'm going to refrain from telling you the story because...
This one time?
No, you can tell us.
Okay, so I was on there, and it was regarding that fluid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I had found this really cool iPhone commercial where fluids, like, they sort of fill up the iPhone, and it looks really, really awesome. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think it was when the 5S came out, like the multicolored ones, and they had those really bad ads for them.
Yeah,
anyway,
where it's as the Daredevil effect that people are calling it. You know, where it's basically building something out of liquid, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I posted that as an example on there, like, how do I do this? And the freaking people who made it, like, responded to me.
Nice.
They told me how I did it. And, I mean, I had already kind of figured it out because that guy at Post Asylum, from Real Effects, knew one of the producers there, or like the executive producer there at the time, or still is, I think. He knew the guy, and he called him up on a favor, and he came over and like spent an evening with me figuring his B2B stuff out. And then the next day, this happened, and I was like, oh my God, like this community is like talking to me, like some cosmological stuff is happening inside my brain. So it was like, you know, I should use it more.
And so what was the site?
Oh, Odd Force. Odd Force. ODFORCE, I believe. Just, I mean, if you just Google Houdini forum, it should be the top hit.
I want to add that to the show notes.
Oddforce.net.
I mean, I might get like assassinated for telling y'all this. It's
Why?
Like such an awesome community. Maybe it was.
That's cool.
You know,
that looks really good.
Shrouded.
Houdini Effects TD Reel.
Mantra. Did you talk about Mantra yet?
Mantra's pretty cool. I didn't talk about it yet. I can just go over it real quick if you want me to.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's the Rendervention that they ship Houdini with. And it's pretty cool, man. It's like, it's powerful.
So is it, I mean, do people use it a lot? Is it like, or is it like, you know, one of those things where people use a lot of third-party stuff when they're working in Houdini or export to another program or...
I think it's more like, Arnold, they have a plugin for Houdini. It's like top of the line coolness. I mean, I don't know anymore though. I mean, I know it used to be. It was like, let's see. I mean, I'm sure you could Google
Man, I gotta say, this smoke looks so realistic.
I mean, it's only rivaled by what's that one? Fume Effects. Fume Effects has some really good nice stuff.
Have you seen the GIF of the guy like walking or doing something and he's completely made of smoke?
Was that
I want to say it's Houdini, you know, but oh man, I gotta find the GIF. It's so cool.
I mean, Houdini, you can do whatever you want. I mean, I'm sure, I'm almost positive you've seen something on a movie or on a commercial and you're like, dang! And you didn't know what it was, and maybe you thought it was something else, but it was probably Houdini, and it was probably something really cool that it could do.
I type in smoke guy walking GIF and I get black guy GIFs.
What?
Okay.
So there's also cool stuff you can do like with particles, turning them into like people.
Oh, like the mass crowd effects? Or whatever? Yeah, I think you can do all kinds of stuff like that in Houdini too. I have never personally messed with it.
I played with a tutorial, like a short tutorial on it, which is pretty cool. I mean, it was
Cinema had something from Houdini for a while. It was called Hot 4D. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was like that displacement, sort of like ocean effect deal that you could import from Houdini.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool.
The way that the crowds and stuff work is actually pretty cool because it was just a small tutorial I did, but a lot of it's built in. I mean, you would have to probably you would have to you would have to bring in models of people and stuff if you were really going to do something with it. But like the tutorial was cool because there's a couple different versions you can work with, and one of them is like a zombie tutorial, to where like there's two sets of particles, and one of them are the zombies and one of them are the humans, and you have to set it up so that the particles that are the humans are trying to avoid the zombie particles.
Whoa.
So you set it up, and there's like a mini city that they put in there, like a block or something, and all the zombies are coming down the street toward the other. And they're all basically particles when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
But they just put models of people around them. And so it's a good lesson in like having two different particle systems like working with each other, and then putting them into, building them into crowd simulations.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah. Yep.
Man. Good stuff.
I mean,
I hate myself.
Wrong,
I hate myself because I don't know all this stuff,
Man, but look, dude, I've been using Houdini for, Jesus Christ, 40 years, and I don't know nothing. I don't know jack shrimp, dude, about none of it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much.
There's a lot.
By the time you learn it all, there's like, you could do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're like God.
It's funny.
And that's what a lot of programs are like. The more complicated they are. I mean, think about something like Photoshop, dude. I've been using Photoshop since 1995, I think.
Yeah, I think my first was 90. Oh, I don't know. 96, 97, 98.
But I still don't know everything about Photoshop. Yeah. And it's not that complicated of a program. And then you come up with something like even Cinema. Cinema, there's tons of stuff I have no idea what it does. It's almost like you're not meant to, you're not supposed to know what everything does. You got to kind of just like
dynamically use it.
Whatever your path is for your career, you got to learn those things, and it's just impossible to learn it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm with you, Matt. I kick myself for not knowing more about that stuff.
I know. It's like I'm lucky that I have a job where I was able to, not only learn V-Ray, but also practice it. And same with Octane,
Yeah.
That I was able to actually do the training and go through that, and learn a little bit of 3ds Max as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So,
I've always wanted to use that, but they don't have it for Mac.
Yeah, I know.
Some baloney.
So
that's, I think, that's the thing you got to remember when you're sitting there looking at people's reels, when you're looking at stuff people have done that looks like so awesome, and you're like, how do they learn? How do they have the time to learn all of that stuff? That's really what it is. Like, they have a job that forced them to learn it.
Yeah.
So they were getting paid to learn, like, a year's worth of learning
in like a day.
For sure.
It's like, that's the only way, I mean, you can't sit down and learn this stuff.
You have to have an end.
Yeah, or force yourself to use it for one thing or another.
Yeah.
I mean,
or do some almost dailies.
Do some almost dailies.
Hashtag almost daily.
Hashtag almost daily. So, anything else you want to talk about with Houdini before we go to the next section here?
Holy cow, we've got so much more.
Oh, it's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah, let's move on, actually.
So all that stuff we were talking about, I'll try and link to a bunch of that in the show notes. Some other things we can touch on real quick is there was a bug in the Adobe Creative Cloud this week.
Really?
Yeah, and they had to pull something, and so like be very careful and just Google and make sure everything's cool before you do an update.
Mac user data?
Yeah, like whatever, like if you have multiple users, whichever one is on top in alphabetical order was getting deleted by some people
who
did the update. Like, dude, if my user was deleted, I'd have a lot of deleted stuff. So I would,
Yeah,
that's bad news bears.
Yeah. So check out that article. I'll link to that. You can check it out, make sure everything's good to go. I think that they have fixed everything now, or pulled what they needed to pull in the meantime. A lot of people, just as a precaution, they were actually creating like a directory in the users that was first in line in front of everything else that said like, Adobe, please don't delete my stuff, so that, because it was just deleting the first thing in alphabetical order in that user directory. So check that out. And somebody hit me up on somewhere this week, I don't remember, about something called Quixel.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. What is it?
I I really don't know. Like, but apparently it was like something they really wanted to know about, and I was like, well, I'll look into it. I don't know if it's something that we do specifically, because I guess the thing is
scan-based PBR texturing. Straight into Photoshop. There's like a video here, but it won't let me view the video.
Is it on their website or what?
Yeah, it's like got the play button, but it won't let me click on it.
What page is it on?
Quixel.se. Watch the videos. Here we go.
Oh, see, I didn't see that before. I hit the play button. Yeah, it's loading for me. So I'm trying to figure out what it is exactly and how it's useful, because they were asking, can you do a tutorial on how to use this and then bring it into Cinema 4D and back or something. But you can see from the video, if you're watching the video, like the texturing and stuff looks really cool. There's like a lot of specular bump channel stuff, and it adds an awful lot of realism.
My computer apparently won't run it. Maybe it's all Flash based, and I just don't have Flash.
What is this?
There's a nice looking. Are you looking at it?
Oh, is that like, will it build geometry from photos or something?
Oh, is it kind of like Crazy Bump?
Well, at first I thought it was kind of similar to what we were talking about last week, because we were talking about a texture image builder, but this almost looks like you can build textures kind of with a 3D model. Like it looks to me like maybe you build something in Cinema, you bring it into this program, and then you do almost like a Photoshop 3D layering thing, and you texture it, and then you bring it back in. So I'm going to have to do more investigation into it. It was just a link someone sent me, and I thought I'd just kind of throw it out there, because it looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
What else do we have here?
That's some sweet
subsurface scattering.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, sorry.
Holy cow.
That is so cool.
I went to Vimeo.
Are you guys looking at the mega scans?
I'm looking at the Quixel Suite Revealed.
Oh, I'm looking at them. Mega scans.
I'm gonna have to check this out more in detail.
Hard surface texturing.
Hey, this is interesting.
DDO Painter for Arnold.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know if that's the same thing. Anyway,
cool.
I'll link to that. The other thing is, we had talked about Wave apps. They did some updates this week.
Did they?
I can't remember what it was in particular. Like the way you do your invoicing now is a little bit different, and there's something in particular that I really liked about it. Better or worse? It's better.
Oh, good.
There's something in particular they changed about it that I liked, and now I don't remember what it was. But it seems like they're continuously updating and doing new things, so that's cool.
They're good people.
We already talked about the iRay thing that was on my list, so basically that just takes us to emails and stuff.
All right.
So, man, we have been getting so much email and so much talk on like social media and everything. It's really great. So remember, if you have a question, comment on the show. If you want to hear about something, doesn't matter what it is, feel free to email us, talk to us on social or whatever, because we love it.
Yeah, we got a lot of interaction this week. It's good stuff. And Dave's been really good about answering all of you.
I've actually been behind a little bit on it, which is pretty crazy. Like I had a slew of people to get back to today. So, I mean, that's a good problem to have, I guess. Yeah. I like it. The question we got from Matt on Twitter says, going to do a longer term almost everyday project, like almost daily project.
Did you see my response? I responded to him.
I don't know if I did. I responded to, what
That's
did you
funny.
say?
I said, hold on. I go into Twitter. I can't remember exactly. I never can.
So the question, while you're looking for that, the question was, should I post work in progress pics or just wait until the final is done?
That's funny. Because you and I completely disagreed with each other.
Say the exact opposite.
You said, personally, I would maybe do an Imgur album with daily updates or something. That would be fun to watch. And I said, either one. Almost daily renders aren't tied down to the strict rules of the daily renders. So choose what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, that is a...
See, it just goes to show it doesn't matter. Like, you can do whatever you want. Even Dave and I would do different things.
You know, my almost dailies I've done have been over a period of a few days, and I haven't posted daily on those. You know, but if it's something, it just, I guess it depends on how long term it is and how many scenes you have. Like if you have maybe a lot of objects or, you know, areas in the scene, maybe it's something where there's a lot of stuff you could show every day. You know, if you're doing the old, I don't know, dystopian landscape with man walking through the mountains to a rocket ship or a space station, maybe you post the guy one day and maybe you post the mountains the next day, and I don't know, maybe something like that. But I like the idea of having the work in progress on Imgur because because it's something that's you know, if you got people who are interested in behind the scenes or how you built something, they might like to see it. Give you something to post if you've got an Instagram account or whatnot. So, you know, but it's really up to you. Sometimes it's fun to just do the big reveal when it's done. So,
Dave, have you done any like texturing or whatever in Photoshop? Because I'm looking at this Quixel thing again. It looks so cool, and I really want to know what it is. But it's like it's doing everything in Photoshop, and I've never done any 3D stuff in Photoshop.
Oh, you mean 3D texturing in Photoshop? Yeah, not really. I mean, I work with textures a lot in Photoshop, but I'm usually bringing them in flat.
Right.
Back in, I haven't done anything. You know, PD, have you ever worked on that kind of workflow?
I have not.
Huh.
That's interesting that it's all on Photoshop.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say this.
Awesome.
It does look really cool. I wish I knew more of what it was, but man, it looks good.
Yeah, I really want to check this out and see.
They're not rendering that in Photoshop, are they?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure what they're using is 3ds Max for theirs.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're like drawing on it in 3D, but it's not like a high quality render. It's just kind of a rough, almost what you'd see like in an OpenGL type viewport or something with a little.
So I mean, if it has Photoshop's brush capabilities, that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
But I guess Cinema can kind of.
Yeah, Cinema's okay. I mean, Photoshop really has the brushes down.
They do. And the whole use of them.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Troy Johnson on Twitter asked, are the S and the O keys different? And this is referring to the navigation tutorial. Are the S and the O keys different? They seem to do the same thing. Am I missing something subtle? And the answer to that was yes, there is something subtle about that. The O key is actually to center up object. So when you use the S key in Cinema, say you have a cube and you have a face of the cube selected or a face of a model you're working on, right? Like a real big model. Let's say you're making a dystopian landscape with a man walking through it, and you pick out one single polygon from your dystopian landscape, and then you hit the S key. It's going to zoom in on that one poly. and that's going to be the center of attention. If you're using the O key, it's object-based, so it's mainly about what object is selected in the object viewer, and so it's going to show the entire landscape when you hit the O key. That's the difference. So if you're modeling, you really want to use that S key because you're going to be doing polys and junk. All right. And we had Paul who sent something in and said, at my company, we're going to start testing render engines for cinema. And I hope that Octane 3 is released soon because we run trash cans. Makes sense. Do you know how friendly Octane is with a PC-based render farm? Also, can we leverage any video cards that would be on the farm? Looking forward to testing the new V-Ray with the interactive window when it comes out. Love the show, guys. Keep it up. It's pretty good, I guess.
It's pretty good, I guess.
So,
I don't know. With Octane, you don't need a render farm. That's really the best thing, you know?
yeah.
But I don't know. I saw a preview when we were at NAB last year. There was a guy who had like a 10 thing render farm, and man, he was rendering stuff like really heavy stuff in seconds, like maybe like 11 seconds or something like that. It was ridiculous. But from what I understand, it's not that hard if you've got the right materials. But the thing with Octane versus V-Ray, you know, or even Cinema 4D, the standard renderer, is that you have to buy a license for each one, which sucks.
You got to have the seats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, so my
each one has to have the standalone and the Cinema 4D one.
Right. And you could also do their render engine, or you could do TeamViewer, but they still have to have the licenses. But like if you want, you could TeamView Octane. And you could have one doing, you know, each computer doing a different frame, or you could do the Octane network render, which I think is better. But it basically just shows all of the video cards on your network that are attached to computers, and you can render to them. Still have to have the licenses. So, like if you were going to go to Octane, let's say, and you had a farm, but you weren't really going to use the farm in its entirety anymore, you could take as many video cards as you could cram into these machines and put them all together.
That's true. Yeah.
And the more you can cram in there, the less seats you have to buy for each, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Farm.
Because it doesn't matter about like processor power or anything like that. It's all about GPU.
Right.
So, I mean, if you spend a little bit upgrading your PSU, you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
in order to handle all four of them.
There's
or 5
those,
or 6 or 7
crazy like cases that you can buy that'll seat like, you know, those NVIDIA cases that'll seat like 12 980 Ti's or something. So that's just ridiculous.
Dude, I logged. So my computer was crashing on me today, hardcore. I got blue screen of death twice today
on Windows?
On my PC, doing subsurface scattering on candles. Like it just straight up blue screened. And so I was rendering something at home. Like I logged onto my home machine, rendered the exact same thing. Dude, my 980 Ti's are twice as fast as my 970s at work.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's ridiculous. Like it takes me 15 minutes to render one frame versus 30 minutes at work.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah, because I had 970s before, and that was a big difference. And you know, it sounds like you might be having a kernel panic problem, which I've had before when I had a video card going out. So,
yeah, I don't know. I hope that's not the case, because it did like that. I was doing the subsurface scattering, and then all of a sudden, like one of my monitors would go out, and then I could only move my mouse, and then my mouse stopped moving, and then it blue screened.
That sounds like you've got a video card going out, dude.
Fantastic.
I had that happen with the 970. Where that is exactly what would happen is one monitor would turn off, I would have mouse problems, and then it would just completely crash.
Man, that sucks because I haven't even had these for a full year yet. Maybe
I had mine for 2 months when it went out. It was a warranty.
Yeah.
But so, you know what the experiment is on that? Figure out which one is going out. Try doing that render, and in Cinema, tell it not to use that video card.
It didn't do it. Like, it didn't do it anymore after the 2 times, you know? I didn't have it happen again at all the rest of the day. after I'd gotten past a certain point. I don't know. Maybe I just turned it off for long enough, let it finally cool down, because I keep my machines on all the time.
Well, Lance is having that problem right now too, where
he is.
He goes to render and the thing panics and the whole computer shuts off.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, he's got 760s in those. I'm like, man, you probably got a 760 going bad.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. It seems like if you do a lot of GPU rendering, that your cards tend to die fairly quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like that.
I don't like that either, especially with how much we spent on the 980 Ti's.
Now, the 980s, knock on wood, have been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
We've used them a lot.
Yeah, we have.
I mean, I have rendered some crazy projects on these, and they have hung in there pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
anyway.
So that was Paul.
I liked this email. This email was good.
Roger Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Harris. Okay, so this is interesting. He watched the bottle breakdown on Vimeo that we did about the octane bottles that we did, and interesting enough, he has been modeling those bottles for years, and he lists off the different ones he's used, and he was doing step files and stuff like that. And long story short, I emailed him back, and I'm like, dude, you don't know how badly I would have wanted to talk to you when we started the project, because we were working with Diageo. We're working with a huge company who has like 500 and something ad agencies working for them. So like for me to ask somebody in one department how I could get something that another department did like a couple years before.
I remember you mentioning that some of these were already modeled.
We knew it, but there was no way.
They were just going to pay for them to be remodeled.
Yeah, it was a time crunch too, and it's like, it's got to be done. We don't have time to track it back to the department, to the person who was working there, back to the agency, to the company the agency hired, find the one guy who worked on it, and ask him if we could have his files. Like, it's not going to happen that quick. Yeah. And so, and plus, will they even release it? Because a lot of people are like, I'm not giving you my master files. You're not paying for a master file. Right. So, we didn't want to even go down that road, unfortunately, because we figured it would just be a dead end. So I was like, dude, I wish we could have talked, but it was really cool to talk to talk about the differences in how they're designed, and how we went back and forth quite a bit. Actually, I didn't put it all in the notes here, but he was talking about how, like, on the Johnny Walker bottles, if you look at a Johnny Walker bottle, there is no good way to loft the thing. Because,
really?
Because it has like this weird, like, it goes from square to circle. Right.
Yeah, wasn't that the one that Lance was saying he had to box model and stuff?
No, that was Don Julio.
Oh, okay.
I did the Johnny Walker, and when you go from square to circle in a loft, you actually have to rotate your circle spline by 22.5 degrees.
Oh, okay.
When you go up from the square to the circle, because that's half of 45 degrees, or else you would get this weird twist. But that wasn't the only problem. The problem was that there was this weird arch in it, and there just wasn't a good way. And you would create the arches, and then the pieces in between didn't fit. And so, like, for me, working on that project, and for Lance, we were still artists, right? Like, we were creating things that were visually stimulating, and they were only used visually. But for Roger, creating things as step files, that are like, this file is going to go to a place that's going to mold the glass.
Yeah, for sure.
It had to be perfect. So that was part of my response, is like, I would have loved to have that stuff, because I could just go to town, because that was like a majority of our time crunch and our budget was just recreating things that we knew all existed already. And it's frustrating,
Yeah, totally.
So that was really cool. But I guess so. Roger's moved into Cinema, has been using Octane and other programs.
Cool.
And
that's good.
So
that's good. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's like I feel like if you're using something where you're having to create step files, so you're probably working in something like AutoCAD or Rhino or something like that, and then moving over to C4D, I feel like it's a little bit easier, but I could be wrong. Like moving that way versus moving backwards.
Oh yeah, moving to more of a technical.
Yeah, moving from a technical one to more of a motion graphics video based one. I feel like that might be easier, but I could be wrong.
Well,
anyway.
He said he was using MOI.
I don't know what that is.
Do you know what that is, PD?
Moi? I don't know.
MOI?
I don't know what it is.
Moment of inspiration? Is that what it is? Anyway, he sent me some samples of some of the bottles, which are really cool. And
wow, weird.
So
existing CAD tools. Huh, interesting.
What he said about Johnny Walker was the transition from squared around with the arch was fun to say the least. I actually modeled it in Modo using sub-Ds.
Yeah.
Modo is an excellent modeling package, especially for sub-D services. As you get much more accurate
I've seen
control.
some stuff from Modo. It's nice. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
I hear a lot about Modo. It's pretty good, I guess.
We have a copy at work, but I don't use it. And we've got a freelance guy who does Modo, and honestly, the stuff coming out of Octane is much better, in my opinion.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. So,
anyway. Do you ever use Modo?
Oh man, I used Modo way back in the day. Not really that far back, but
like last week.
The new one, I watched a video. Hickman made us watch a video, and some of the modeling tools looked pretty cool. Like, it almost seemed like Cinema was retrofitting some of the advancements that Modo made.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, that was my impression, was that that's really all it had to offer was competitively was the modeling tools. I think some of the rigging tools looked fairly decent, from what I remember.
Well,
anyway,
that was a good. I don't know. That was good to find out, because we might be doing some more of those pretty soon. So it was nice to hear.
Is that true?
What's that?
Is that true?
We might be doing some more of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sweet.
I mean, the next year, it's already been a year. So, and then Alexandris that sent us the email last week was talking about the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Said he sent the scene and said, I think some textures might be missing, but I'm pretty sure I had my fourth wall in the project blocked by a cube. And I'm sure that the shadows popped in the DL and not the PT. In any case, thanks for answering my question. Can't wait to get home and try to re-render without the cube. And that brush and cloners, you were definitely right. Render instances was not checked. So that's good. And then, and
basically, with that one, I was right. Like, everything that I had in my head was right. It was all about the alpha shadows. And it was he had alpha shadows in your settings, like unclicked in. So what he said, where he couldn't see it in direct light, or he couldn't see it in path tracing, but he could see it in direct lighting, is because the alpha shadows was clicked on one and not on the other. So yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it was easy.
Cool. Well, good. And we pronounced his name right. So
yeah.
So that's good.
So all right.
Cool. Well, I think we got a show.
Yeah, that's a pretty good show.
God.
That's pretty good, I guess.
PD, P Diddy, P Dubs.
P to the D to the Izzle.
P to the D
That's right. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Thanks for being on. We should.
You know what we should do? We should do like where Dave and I will do a week of Arnold, and then PD, you do a week of Octane, and then we'll all come back and do a podcast.
That would be cool.
That would be fun.
That'd actually be really a nice follow-up.
I mean, you can just go into what's his name's office. He's got some nice graphics cards now. Just use his.
Yeah, it's true.
Pat or
Dave's.
Dave or
Yeah. Wait, did Pat get one too?
Yeah, this week installing 2 more
Nice.
this week. So
Well, there you go.
yeah.
Okay.
So next week, hopefully, I did follow up with Sage of Shadow. The only thing that we were waiting on to make sure is that Sage of Shadow has a decent microphone. But if all goes well, next Sunday we will be doing a show with Sage of Shadow from the Cinema 4D subreddit.
That's going to be fun. It'll be nice to hear his voice after talking with him so often online.
Right. So that'll be fun. And then I haven't set a date, but I've also talked to our friend Jeremy about coming on to talk about some business aspects of running your own video motion graphics company.
That's a good idea.
And he does stuff with print and stuff as well.
Cool.
So we need to lock in a date. That might be, I believe, there's going to be a week. The week after Sage of Shadow, there will not be a show.
Okay.
Because I'm going to be like traveling hardcore. And so
maybe I'll just do it by myself.
The Lone Matt episode.
The Lone Matt.
So you guys, you guys like graphics or?
It's not going to be that long.
So
it'll be like grayscale length.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
He's never going to come in the limo if you talk like that.
I know.
So,
well, he also releases like 6 a week, and we do 1. So it's probably about the same.
That's true. So I'm hoping that the week after we can have Jeremy on and we'll talk about that. Some of the things that I thought, we could talk about would be like talking about cash flow, talking about accounts receivable, like all that kind of stuff. Like, if
man, that sounds exciting.
So exciting. But it's really something that you got to do, if you're running stuff. And he's had to deal with that a bit. But in the meantime, if you have some ideas about the business end that you would like to hear about, questions you might have, something you want to learn more about, anything about the business end of either being a contractor, running your own business, please send us an email to brograph@brograph.com or hit us up on Twitter or Facebook or any of the places, really. We even have
you might even have your email read on our podcast.
Oh, man.
You probably will.
Probably. You can rate us on iTunes or leave a review. We love getting the reviews. Haven't had any more
not
in the
since last
few
week.
days. Yeah, but we would love to get that because it's awesome. And it helps promote us. It helps get us up in the ratings on iTunes, which is good. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Brograph Tutorials. It's where most of the audience is, actually, and that's where we release everything. I believe I have another
at least
tutorial
30 times our Twitter audience.
Yeah, for sure. Should be a tutorial coming out this week. I'm trying to remember what it is about, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. I'll think of it in a minute.
I've started building my scene for my interior render ones.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah, because you got people super interested in that.
I know. It's on my list. Got to finish up my demo reel this week, though.
So the prints, like, I guess we talked about it. You probably do like a room scene and a print thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. So since I don't have the furniture builder, one done, I figured I'd just build a room and show how to do it both in V-Ray and then do it again in Octane because they're 2 totally different machines. Or 2 totally different films.
Right.
Then after that, it's going to be the same. I want to go through the multipass stuff in both Octane and V-Ray, and then it'll all be, maybe I'll do multipass and post work together. I don't know. So, but then getting it ready for print, kind of.
Cool.
Getting it into from a linear workspace into a CMYK Grackle workspace. So,
I think those will be good.
I think so too. So anyway,
yeah, that's about it. If you'd like to take our relationship to the next level, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Brograph.com, and
buy a t-shirt.
Buy a t-shirt. Buy a t-shirt.
Buy a t-shirt. Take a picture of yourself in it, and maybe you'll get another free t-shirt. No, you won't.
If you can't find us anywhere else, you can probably do a search for us on AOL
Yep.
keyword Brograph.
No. Just don't
You can find us
do a
there.
Google search for nexusmotion.com.
Oh, jeez. Well, you can now.
Yeah, you can now.
Yeah, you're good now. Just don't look at the cache. Because you might get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Mom might ground you.
NSFW.
That's true.
Cool. All right.
Cool, yo. Well, I guess that wraps it up. PD, thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll be talking to you. And hopefully see you for some drinks this week, dog.
Ooh.
Totes.
That was tasty.
Tasty. All right. Until next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
Have a good one.
Later, bros.
Peace.
It's pretty good, I guess. Brograph.com, an online resource for learning critical components of Cinema 4D and After Effects, specifically catered to help you prevail as a motion graphic designer.
What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph motion graphics tutorial.
We give you professional time-saving tips, shortcuts, and lessons that help give you an edge over your fellow designers. Not only this, but our new Brograph Talks help you in your file management, hardware configuration, and client relations.
I love projects that scare me. When our art director comes to us and asks for something that I had never done before, man, it gets me pumped.
Join us for live sessions, check out our crazy Cinema 4D experiments, or just watch our Fun with Brograph series, where we show you practical applications for techniques learned in previous tutorials. Do this from the beginning, and your client is going to respect that, and they're going to respect you, and they're going to respect your time. Subscribe today and get automatic updates on the latest tutorials, tricks, tips, and inspiration brought to you by industry professionals Dave Koss and Matt Milstead, all with a slight dash of dry humor peppered in. Real nice banana.
Brograph.com, your source for tutorials that will help you thrive in the motion graphics industry. Don't just play around with Cinema 4D and After Effects, master it, and make money by becoming indispensable at your workplace.
We don't care how you get here, folks. Just get here. Subscribe now to Brograph Tutorials. It's pretty good, I guess.